What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming to you with first place Blue Eyes deck profile here from our man Paul. Our man Paul was on a rough stretch here. Well, he was at a rough stretch and he showed up today with the vengeance, going undefeated. All right, Paul. Tell us what you did today.
Yeah, so like Charles was saying, I think it was karma. I went had a pretty rough week last week, went like 1-11, so came back with a vengeance this week, and ended up winning locals here with some Blue Eyes action, some Blue Eyes Primite. So
all right,
I'll show you guys the deck profile.
Yeah, let's show us the deck.
So honestly, nothing too crazy. We have the two Blue Eyes. Everyone, like, 3 is just too many. Everyone knows it's just really bricky. We're not in 2016. 2's good for the synergy though. 3, Sage with Eyes of Blue, really good card. I still think it's awesome that you can just add Effect Failure the second time you summon them, which is just a great hand trap. So 3 of him, 3 Maiden, awesome new card, probably one of the better new cards for the deck. And here's kind of the big one, the Primite engine, 3 barrel, Ether Dragon, whatever you want to call them. So I lucked out. I was able to get this engine way back when it kind of first came out because I thought I was going to play Dark Magicians with it. And so, you know, I got it pretty cheap down when these were about like maybe $12 or $13 for the Lordly Loads. So I kind of made out like a bandit on this deal because now they're way more. But you run the 3 load and then obviously just the 1 Primite Drill Beam. It's just nuts how you can just reset this every single turn and just keep banishing and negating cards. And then adding back the barrel in your standby phase as long as you have the normal monster, which you almost always do because you're playing Blue Eyes. The best new card in the deck is Wishes for Eyes of Blue. It's just a hand trap magnet. You're always getting purged. You're always getting ashed on this. It just eats those things for breakfast, which is unfortunate. But it's just it's a really great card. Obviously, just adding any level 1 tuner and the Speller Trap. I think the traps in this deck are awesome. I really like Majesty. It's a really good trap. So I add that a lot, actually, because I think it's sometimes better just to make a smaller board, play under nib, make 1 Spirit Dragon with a trap. Sometimes it's just better to play under nib than trying to go full combo. 1 Mausoleum of Light just doesn't do enough to play more than 1, and it's super searchable. And then the Majesty and the True Light. I am glad this card just says Graveyard because I have had it banished before, and they're like, wipe your board, and I'm like, it says it has to go to Graveyard to wipe my board.
Doesn't Eternal Soul say if it just leaves the field?
And that's why people think that is Eternal Soul says just leave the field. This says specifically goes to Graveyard. So. And then just the 1 board. The Blue Eyes, again, very searchable, and by itself really doesn't do much for you. So, one thing I do that's a little different, I do play YuGiOh Kaiser Seahorse on top of all my other starters. I mainly play him because sometimes I literally don't, I guess, have a tuner, and I want to have a 4 tuner for stuff I play on my extra deck. And you can also just search him off Magnamut if you need to, so he's a dragon. Then the rest of the deck is, I mean, pretty much hand traps. There's the Magnum I talked about. I don't play Druid's Worm. I play him instead of Druid's Worm because I want the 4 tuner. And then 3 Purge because my whole extra deck is light. 3 Ash. I did accidentally activate Purge before using Ash today, so that's kind of a bummer. You got to be careful there. 3 Imperms. 3 nibs. I like to make Charles mad. Just play 1 Ultra in there with some commons.
Oh, maidenless behavior right there.
Maidenless. 2 Fuaros. I do have the 3rd. It's in the side deck. I don't know. I feel like every once in a while when you're going first and you just draw Fuaros, it just sucks. He's just sitting in your hand. You never get to use him for the rest of the duel. So I think 2 is fine going first. The 2 Veilers, again, searchable. And I wanted to keep the deck as low as possible, so I didn't want to play a 3rd one. And then the 2 Talents. Arguably, it's 42, so I could cut the Talents, add a Veiler, and I'd be at perfect 40. But with all the hand traps running around, like, you're just getting blasted left and right by Ashes and Veilers and stuff. I just think Talents is so good to just be able to draw. Or worst case scenario, make a half.
Steal an opponent's Blue Eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Take your Blue Eyes, tear it up, throw it into the ocean.
Yeah. I mean, that's legal, right?
Yeah, right?
Okay. Kai bid it to Grandpa. It's legal.
And then extra deck, nothing too crazy. The 2 Spirit, I don't play 3. It's just, I've never had a grind game long enough where I need 3 with this deck. I'm either losing or winning in a couple turns. The 1 Spheres, Azure Eyes. I do play the 3 Spirit Dragon. I often make 2 of these if I don't think they nib on the first turn. So
if you pass the first nib check,
yeah. So if you don't play 3 and you make 2 on your first turn, you have like no grind game. So it's just like you have to play 3. I think.
I think the best way to do it is like you do 1 less than what you normally would do,
Yeah.
Right. You like if you can make 2 spirit, you make 1 spirit. If you make 3
Yeah.
spirit, you make 2
You
spirit.
do.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
like
or
I
if you-
said, a lot of times too, if you don't know if they play nib or not, you do end up
Even-
just making one.
Even today, like if you can make spears and spirit, you just make spears.
make spears,
yeah.
yeah, right.
Or if you just make
Play one less.
Yep.
And then the one of awesome card. I like him a lot. Every once in a while, this don't banish from your graveyard does come up because there's like all kinds of
Bystials,
Bystials
yeah.
running around and people trying to banish your stuff.
Going after maiden.
Yeah.
Trying to take your maiden away.
And this is the card in the extra deck I was talking about. This is why I play Neo Kaiser Seahorse. I do play Dissipator because you can make him with one of your level 1 sync tuners as well as any of your level 9 in the extra deck.
Yeah, because this guy, like when this destroys it, this comes back and it can't tag out again.
Correct.
So, like,
Yep. So he's just sitting there,
Yeah.
being nothing essentially. And then also with the Bystial, if I just happen to have Magnamut, you can search Kaiser with Magnamut, normal summon him, and then make a Bystial Dissipator. So not a and honestly, people are banishing all the time, so there's always negate or pop material for
Yeah,
him.
absolutely, yeah.
And then you have the standard tag out combo of Crimson Dragon.
Did this ever come up for you?
Today it did come up once. I did with one of our buddies. I did. He scooped before I got to it, but I was gonna go into
That's
it.
what I heard on this package.
Yeah.
Is it's like not needed, but like
It's-
Play through 5 negates.
It's a total win more. I mean,
Exactly.
it is. But at the same time, it's like if you don't play it, like what are you going into? I would rather have an Omni Negate than the
a recurring on the
Yeah.
game too. Yeah.
And he's huge. He's 4,000. So what is the other one? Cypher Dragon. That
Yeah,
a lot
he's
of
like
people
30
play.
yeah.
It's like it's more like protection than negation.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I just think for most people playing through a Drill Beam, 2 Omni Negates, and 2 Graveyard Negates is usually more than they can handle. And then you have the standard 1 Tyrant, 1 Neo. Nothing really to be said there. I love that card. Just
Yeah, this card's so wild,
It's
dude.
so good. Like people just always forget it's
And then
there,
just
you're like,
reset
attack-
Majesty.
Yep,
Yeah.
all your monsters and
Or
reset
Imperm
Majesty or
too.
an Imperm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's a really cool card.
I think you could like,
Yep.
so you play one Indigo, okay?
Yep, I do play Indigo, and this actually comes up, I think, fairly often. With just the board negate, like I think it's really good just because sometimes people you go like roar and you Primite lordly load and you're like summon 2 blue eyes and like what's he gonna do?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Because they're in defense position.
Yeah, so then you turn into a 4K
Yeah, you
attacker.
just
Yeah,
turn into a 4K attacker who negates the board.
that's actually pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, and then Typhon is, I feel like he's like the I'm losing button. I very rarely win when I have to slam Typhon on the field, but
I've seen it's just kind of like your normal stuff. I mean, like really, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, it's basically like if you play Pure Ryziel, this card's insane. If you're playing against Pure Ryziel, but every other deck, it just feels like you summon it and they deal with it, and you just like,
Yeah, and you just, like, lock
and your
yourself
turn's
out.
over because you can't summon now.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's the deck profile. Guys, nothing too crazy, but I like it. It's a fun deck. I think it's kind of in that rogue low tier 2 category. It's just kind of fun. So
Awesome.
yep.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing. Everyone, stay safe and stay healthy.